wheels have fallen off the wagon, but we're here to break it all down. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes postgame show, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here with Steve Peters and Craig Morgan joining us from the parking garage at Madison Square Garden.
I am in the guts of Madison Square Garden. Petey recognizes this area. You can see the tunnel behind me, Petey. The ramp down to the bus, and the bus is leaving very soon, guys. Only have a few minutes.
So. Yes. So Craig, you normally don't start the show with us like this. I'm just gonna throw it right to you, Craig. What were your thoughts on this one? Initial thoughts, takeaways.
Well, I think it was pretty clear that the Coyotes dominated the early half of this game. They had their way with the Rangers. They just couldn't solve Igor Shesterkin, which is a problem that a lot of teams run into. He's the best goalie in the world right now. It was good to see him come out the way that they came out. They really were dictating play. The Rangers had 3 shots on goal in the first period. If you get anything past him, it changes this game, the complexion of it entirely, but they just couldn't get that first goal. The Rangers get a couple good bounces, probably a couple ill-advised plays, and suddenly you're down 2-0. And that was that. I felt like the Rangers got their legs after that. And overall, they lost this game. They lost the last 2 games to the hottest team in the league, the New Jersey Devils, and then one of the best teams in the league in the New York Rangers. But if you look at this road trip overall, they still went 3-2. This team is playing hard. They're doing a lot of good things. They're definitely surprising a lot of people. Nobody saw the Coyotes doing what they've done so far. They're definitely playing with a chip on their shoulder, and that's part of what I'm writing about in my 5 takeaways that I'll be finishing on the bus and the plane, apparently.
Love it. Greg, what did Coach Cherney and whoever you spoke to have to say after tonight's game?
Well, that was just it, really. I just summarized what they said. I think it was pretty clear to everyone. They had a chance early in this game to get a lead, and had they gotten that lead, this was probably a different game because the Rangers look lifeless, to be honest. They just didn't have much going. They didn't look that interested in this game. And, of course, they were playing on a back-to-back as well. They had played on the road. So this is a tough situation for both teams. But the Coyotes had the early jump. That's what you want to do in a road game, try and get an early lead and then, play very conservative, safe hockey. But they just couldn't get one past Shesterkin.
Absolutely. And like you tweeted, Craig, they set a season-high 17 shots on goal in that first period. I don't think any of us saw 17-4 coming in the first against the Rangers at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, Leah, what were the shot totals, actually? What did the
Coyotes at the end of the game?
Yeah.
Let's see. It was 32 shots on goal to the Rangers 27.
That is a season high for the Coyotes as well, 32 shots. They had 30 against Dallas earlier. That's their season high in shots on goal. So remember, we were talking about this early where it was like, wow, it's a struggle to get 20 for this team. So they're doing some things. They're generating a little bit more offense. Maybe it's just shot volume in some cases, but they are getting more pucks to the net lately. Yep,
definitely. Craig, how much more time do you have?
I should go, guys.
Okay.
I gotta get home. So
all right, Craig.
I'm looking forward to coming back to AZ because it got chilly here today in New York. We had perfect weather, but it got really cold today. So I'm coming home.
Cold
perfect
here.
Time to leave.
Yeah, I got long sleeves on. It's freezing.
Oh,
just saying. I got long sleeves.
All right, Craig.
Travel safe, Craig.
Safe travels.
Aren't you from Minnesota?
I know, I used to be, buddy.
All right, guys. I'll see you.
Bye, Craig. All right. Well, we got a little unique start to the show, one that we're not used to, starting with Craig here with us. So we kind of did the overarching story of what happened in tonight's game. But Petey, I'll throw it over to you now for your take. Or actually, let me give my take, and then you can give yours, and then we'll dive into everything.
And then the show will be over.
And then we can enjoy the rest of our night. Like Craig said, like the Coyotes came into this game, they had total control. You know how last night we were saying the Coyotes looked tired, and that's how the Rangers looked tonight. And both teams were coming off of a back-to-back, so they were on equal playing ground there with that. The Rangers were the ones who looked tired. The Coyotes were the ones in control up until that mistake by Connor Ingram that led to that first Rangers goal. And then it's like you could see the flip switch in real time, and the Rangers, the building kind of got a breath of fresh air, and the Rangers bench did too. And it just completely turned the tide of the game. And it's unfortunate because maybe the Coyotes wouldn't have won this game, but it could have been closer than it ended up being.
Yeah, you nailed it. And we talk about the momentum or your ability to get through and bring some energy. Back-to-backs are hard. They're absolutely hard when you're trying to get that energy going for that second night. The difference here, and it came up in the broadcast, is that the Coyotes traveled from New Jersey. So they had to go across the bridge, and they stayed in the same hotel that they've been in the last 4 nights. The Rangers were in Nashville. That's a plane ride. It's a time zone. You're getting home late. Makes a difference. And they played like it. That first period was not traditional New York Ranger hockey. The Coyotes defended better. They were stick on puck in the defensive zone. I don't think they gave much up at all in the first period. You talked about no shots through 11 minutes. I mean, defensively, the Coyotes were lock solid. They were great. Offensively, they had some good chances. Maccelli with the bench chance in the first period, but the difference is you got to score. When you got a team that tired, that on the ropes, and they're because exactly what happened. They go into the locker room, you get a breather, you killed off some penalties, and you go, okay, guys, it's time. Let's go. I mean, they've got enough skill and leadership in that room that once that break is over, they go, oh my goodness, it's 0-0. These guys got us on the ropes. Let's go. And I think you talked about that play for Ingram, and it really starts with the Valimaki turnover in the corner. It's again, he tries to throw the puck up the middle of the ice, and that starts the breakdown. And we've said this before about this hockey team. The margin of error is so small. They cannot make mistakes. And him throwing the puck up from behind the goal and up the middle of the ice, I know it gets on Ingram's stick and he could have poked it away and he didn't, but that play can't go up the middle of the ice. This team has to stop making those plays up the middle of the ice. And then the wave just changed and momentum changed and the Rangers were just rolling. And then you knew it was in trouble.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I said, you could feel that switch, but the Coyotes still could have held on. It still could have been a 1-0 game, but unfortunately, again, they tried to clear from the defensive zone. They couldn't clear. The Rangers grabbed it, scored again a minute 17 later, and at that point, it's 2-0, and that made it harder to come back from. They were then outshot in the second, 14-9 by the Rangers, so you definitely felt that momentum shift, and it's just unfortunate because then the Rangers score on the power play to start the third. So let's take a look at the numbers because it's actually pretty interesting to see where the goals came from. We mentioned it with Craig already, but the Coyotes finally outshot an opponent 32-27. 17 shots on goal in the first was almost the total amount they shot last night. They had 18 shots on goal Saturday night against the Devils. So this was a big improvement. They had a ton of chances on the power play tonight. Unfortunately, the power play, even though they did score on the power play, it didn't look as explosive as it has. There were a couple of mistakes on the power play, a couple of breakdowns, a couple of times where you didn't really notice that they were actually on the power play. And then the Rangers, of course, 1 for 4 on theirs, and then hits 31-19 in favor of New York.
Yeah, and I thought on the power play, it like you said, on that second goal where Fox gets the second goal, and you look at how tired, that's where the tired shift changed. You look at that the guys in white, the Coyote guys, man, they look tired, and they were straight-legged, and when you're straight-legged, standing up straight, that means you're tired in the game of hockey. When your knees are bent and you're active skating, that you've got some energy, and they were straight-legged, and they had a hard time on the Fox goal, and after that, you're right, the power play, yeah, they do go 1 for 6, so they get their power play goal to extend their streak, and they're still doing well on the power play. But you're right, the chances weren't there tonight. The puck movement wasn't there tonight that we've seen in the past. Their ability to get in the zone clean and get the puck up between the blue lines didn't happen tonight. They were just a little off sync. And coming through that first period 0-0, you go, oh my goodness, like maybe they can hang on. And I thought coming into this game, this was going to be the toughest game of the road trip for them because I knew they'd be tired and this was going to be hard and they were excited to get home. And they just didn't quite have that same jam offensively as you were able to see earlier in the trip. But they were around it and they were close, and they should be thrilled with what they accomplished on this trip, going 3-2 through the first East Coast swing. They should be thrilled at what they did and taking this Ranger team to 0-0 and outshooting them. Man, that just doesn't happen. The Coyotes did that 2 games in a row now where they've outshot their opponent. So good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think there's a lot of great things to take away from this game. A 4-1 final score isn't fully representative of, it was a very tilted game. The first half was very different from the second half. I feel like 4-1 makes it seem like it wasn't as good as it actually was for the Coyotes. Of course, they did have some breakdowns. And Petey, I feel like your keys today were actually pretty representative. Like the Coyotes, like kind of got all your keys, but like kind of didn't at the same time, if that makes sense. And that was a perfect summary of this game, I feel like.
Yeah, and you look at the penalty, the one that really cost him was the Nick Bugsteg penalty to start the third period when it's still 2-0, and you go, okay, if the Coyotes can get one here, then that can make a difference. And then Bugsteg takes a penalty, and it was a tripping penalty. And again, it's those stick fouls that you get when you're tired and you're behind and you're skating a little slower than your opponents. So, the energy, I thought the energy was there. I thought both teams on a back-to-back. I thought they got a quick start. I thought it was great. They just needed to get a puck behind Shesterkin in the first. They just needed a goal, and I think that could have made the difference. Ingram, I thought he played well. I mean, the puck rolls off his stick, and on that second one, you'd like to see him handle that puck a little bit differently, but I thought he had a good game. I thought he made some big saves, and I thought he looked more solid.
Especially in the first period, I felt like he made some, or the first in the beginning of the second, that save at the beginning of the second on Capo Caco was unbelievable, and he had another big save in the first. So even seeing a lot of rubber through the first 25 or so minutes, when he did, he made big saves. And it was unfortunate that Rangers goal came off of a misplay of the puck by Connor himself, because he played well until that point.
Yeah, I thought that was a bounce back game. That's exactly what we wanted. And now I don't think there's much of a doubt who their number one goalie is right now. I think they're going to come back when they head out to Vegas on Thursday. I'm pretty sure you're going to see Vejmelka between the pipes on Thursday.
Yeah, well, they must be really happy to come home, mostly because there's Four Peaks beer in Arizona. And if I was on the road that long, I for sure would miss drinking Four Peaks. So when they get back, sometime late tonight, tomorrow, maybe they'll have a day off, and the next day or two, they can grab some Four Peaks beer from wherever they buy their beer, or even swing by the A Street Pub themselves, and you can too. The World Cup is around the corner, and we're teaming up with Four Peaks to show those games. The U.S. and Mexico World Cup matches will be shown at the A Street Pub with beer specials, giveaways, guest appearances, and more. $3 kit lifter and Wow Wheat pints. It's less than 2 weeks away. Check the link in our show notes to register for free. I'm really excited about the world. I just love when all the sports are happening at once, Petey. That's what I really like. And I want to crown our king of the game in a second, but before we get there, Petey, you're having a great day on DraftKings. I am not having a great day on DraftKings. But you're doing well today.
Some of it was at the expense of our producer, Sean DePaz, unfortunately. And
by the way,
we're not going to talk football here, but oh my, that's all I'll say. If you did not see that game, go watch the highlights of the Minnesota Viking Buffalo Bill football game. Never seen anything like it. Never.
Watching that game at work today with Sean, who is emotionally invested, and then Totri, who has a bet on the line for going the other way, was the craziest experience I've had in a long time.
And then had a little money line Viking bet going today too. And I thought it was over.
Sean is shaking his head right now.
It was an unbelievable football game. Absolutely unbelievable both ways. It was phenomenal. But yes, DraftKings has been doing. It's been a good day.
You might have to give the pick of the week next week, because you've been on fire, Petey.
I was 5 for 6 in college ball yesterday. It was a good day.
Yeah. Well, if you want to make yourself some money on DraftKings, you can do so right now. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 if your team wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code PHNX. There go the street racers behind me. That's code PHNX on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And for the first time this season, Petey, we are going to name a back-to-back king.
Wow.
And he earned it tonight, and that is Clayton Keller, tonight's DraftKings king of the game. The Coyotes' lone goal tonight. He's on a 5-game point streak right now. And also a fun tidbit from Coyotes PR today, Keller has at least 1 point in each of his last 7 games against the Rangers, making it the longest point streak against any opponent in his career. Another power play goal, like we said, keeping the power play alive and well. And that was we talked about his skillful goal last night. This goal today was extremely skilled as well, from a crazy angle. You thought Richie might have shot that puck, but he opted to pass, and it paid off. And Travis Boyd also quietly on a 5-game point streak as well. So while the Coyotes didn't have as much offense tonight as we maybe would have hoped, that goal was a beauty.
Yeah, he was a great shot. And we talked about his skill level last night. He had his goal last night. It was a great shot tonight. So it's great to see. We talked about it. We said it's just going to be a matter of time until Keller starts to come back to where he was on the offensive side of the puck on his goal scoring ability. That injury was horrific last year, and I you know, it takes time, and it takes time to get comfortable, and it's taken him a little while, but I think he's looked sharper as this road trip has gone on. He got a point in every game on the trip. I got a couple of goals now, so I'm more than a point a game guy. And like you said yesterday, you know, take the over on the 0.5 Keller points because he's hitting it. Yeah, he's definitely getting better, and it's good to see him putting some pucks in the net right now. And I think he's going to be the offensive leader, and hopefully Schmaltz is back soon. I mean, you talk about the timetable for Schmaltz should be still, you know, we talked about early December maybe. So we get that line back together, and who knows, maybe he'll take off again.
Yeah. So, you know, and even in that moment, there was some hope today. I literally said to Sean, maybe this will be a 3-2 close game and the Coyotes lose in the final, you know, seconds, 3-2. And at one point when it was 3-1, I said, oh my gosh, like my prediction could come true. And then
it didn't.
It did not. But Petey, oh, well, what were you going to say?
Go ahead. I'm going to talk about the fourth goal.
I was going to cue you up to talk about the fourth goal. We're on the same wavelength.
Right when you said Petey.
So 3 minutes after that Clayton Keller power play goal, the Rangers responded. At that point, it was kind of the nail in the coffin. But lucky for us, we got some Petey's puck talk to show us what exactly went down on this fourth Rangers goal. So Petey, take it away.
They're still halfway through the third period, so it's 3-1. If something changes here, then maybe you have a chance. We talk about the way the Coyotes defend in their man-on-man. You see Valimaki, number 4 there. He goes towards the Ranger player that has the puck, and you look at the goal line right next to the goalie. Carpenter, the goal scorer, is right next to Boyd. They're side by each. He's got him. He's got his man. Go to the next slide. What happens is Boyd, because that's what happens. Guys want to follow the puck around. So Boyd leaves the front of the net. He leaves Carpenter all alone, and he starts to follow the puck up the ice, even though Valimaki's already got that guy. Everybody's man on man. Everybody's covered. But Boyd leaves his man in the net front all alone. You go to the last slide. You see Snyder take the shot, and there's Carpenter all alone in front of the goaltender. Easy tip. What should have happened is Boyd should have been on him under stick, is what we say. So you have his stick underneath Carpenter's stick, so he's unable to make a tip, and that would be a save for Ingram. And that's today's PD puck talk. You got to stay with your man and not get puck focused and puck watching. And that happens, and it's no fault of Boyd. I mean, he sees the puck going up the ice. You get excited. You want to go chase the puck. That's what you do. So it's too bad. And that's what happens sometimes in defensive zone coverage, and a man gets left all alone in front of the net.
Yep. People love Petey's puck talk. Petey, Charles, and Nicholas, both really excited for a good Sunday night Petey's puck talk. And, you know, when you break down these plays too, it's easy to look at it slide by slide and see the mistakes. But when it's unfolding in real time, everything's moving so fast. So I can't imagine being in that position. If you've ever seen a hockey game in person, you see how fast everything is.
Honestly, Leah, that is a great point. And that's why I want to make sure it doesn't seem too critical on these players. The speed at which this game is played, when you talk about football plays, they're static from when the ball gets hiked at the line of scrimmage, and you have a path that you're supposed to follow. Hockey's not like that. It's chaos. It's a chaotic sport. And sometimes things happen so quickly. So Boyd's got to make that read in under a second. He's got to decide, am I going at that guy at the puck, or am I staying here? He's got to decide. And most often, the defenseman is going to take that play in front of the net. That's where a defenseman is. But because Valimaki started the climb, he's got to stay. So it happens so quickly. And that's why you practice these things. You need to go over them on video, and you go over them on the whiteboard, because you need to do these things without thinking. You need to see it and go. And that's why hockey is such an exciting sport, and it's a game of mistakes. So we said this about the Coyotes, they need to play mistake-free hockey, and it's just hard. It's just too fast. So that's what happened tonight.
Yeah. But, you know, like we've been saying the last week or so, we've seen steady improvements game over game. So, you know, that's the most we can ask for. And somebody that we've talked about every post-game show also is Matias Maccelli, who, again, was a standout for me tonight before there were any Coyotes goals. And we're thinking, who should be king? Like, Maccelli came to mind. I also asked the members-only Discord who they think should be king, and we got a couple of Maccelli replies. He had 2 shots on goal tonight, 15-27 time on ice. But one thing I will say is it does seem like Maccelli has been taking penalties quite a bit here. Is that maybe because he is a little bit newer and is making mistakes, or is that not a reflection of him and more of a reflection of the team's play overall?
There's a couple things. And first of all, I'm going to say the first thing you said when he had 2 shots on goal, he's got 3 shot attempts tonight. And we saw it a few games ago at the beginning of this trip where he was passing up shots. And we're saying, hey, you got to shoot, got to have some confidence in your shooting ability. He's starting to do that. And I thought he had the best chance, like I said, in the first period. So that's important. He's starting to get shots on net. And that's the only way he's going to score. So good for Maccelli. I think he's taking a step forward in becoming more mature. On the penalty side, it's almost like he's a little over exuberant. Like he's almost trying too hard. And when you get in there too hard and you forecheck too hard or you go after a player too hard, sometimes you get your stick in there. And for him, he's been getting a lot of stick fouls. High sticking today, hooking yesterday, slashing. Like he's getting those stick fouls because he's over exuberant. He's trying too hard. He's got to learn to keep his stick on the ice because all 3 of those fouls are with your stick up in the air. So he'll learn. It just takes some time. He's not doing it from lack of effort because I think you can see that every time he jumps over the board, how hard he works. So he's just got to learn to play the game at this speed. You play in the American League to this, it's much faster. And when somebody gets ahead of you, your instinct is to get like this and get your stick up and try to slow him down with your stick, whether it's a hook or a trip or a high sticking. So I think that will come as he gets more comfortable in the game. Definitely not worried about it now. He's going to keep getting his ice time right now because he has evolved and he has become a bigger part of what they're doing offensively. So it's great to see him evolve. And this is what it's going to be at the other end of the rebuild is you're going to need guys like him and Gunther are going to need to continue to take these steps forward.
Yeah, and something that we've even forgotten to plug this whole time, this whole week, Petey, is that we spoke with Tucson Roadrunners head coach Steve Potvin, and we asked him about Matias Maccelli. So if you haven't had the chance to go listen to that, it's down the I-10. It's on YouTube. It's also in the PHNX Coyotes podcast feed. Check that out. He spoke very highly of Matias Maccelli, and we talk about the players coming up through the AHL, and we finally saw Laurent Dauphin get in the lineup tonight. Was nothing too crazy from him, just 8:28 on the ice. He had a shot, but these players in Tucson coming up, my goodness, the street racers, they're all here
it's
tonight.
a busy night tonight.
I know.
Sunday.
There was that F1 race today, I guess. Maybe they're paying tribute. But anyway, definitely go check out what Steve Potvin had to say about Matias Maccelli because we've been talking about him, Matias McCalder, and as of right now, I think in Seattle, let's see if Beniers got a point tonight because if not, Matias Maccelli remains the NHL rookie point leader. Beniers does not have a point, so Matias Maccelli is still the NHL leader in points for rookies.
Well, there you go. And you talked about Dauphin briefly too. You looked at him, and the biggest thing for him getting his first game of the season, he hasn't played in this whole trip, so he hasn't played a game for over a week. So for him to play the way he did, I thought he played well. I thought he defended well. He's a smart player, and most importantly, he didn't have any huge mistakes.
Yeah,
and that's what you ask for a guy that's getting his first action tonight. You didn't need him. Well, it would have been nice if he contributed offensively, but that's not what you're looking for him. You want him to get out there and not cause any mistakes, not cause any pucks to go in the net while you're defending. So I thought Laurent Dauphin looked really good tonight. So
yeah,
he let's see if he gets on the ice again on Thursday, or we'll have to check the injury reports by Thursday and see what's going on.
I can't believe I feel like they've been playing every other night for so long. It's crazy that there's a couple days off here, but I think it'll serve them well, especially just to get home for a minute.
Yeah. And that's where we're going to have to talk to Craig when he gets back and have him with this 3-day break now that they don't play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There are still some injuries that we're going to need some updates on. And now that everybody's back home and
Schmaltz
didn't travel and Chikrin didn't travel. So let's see where they're at in their progression. Yeah, and maybe somebody's getting close. So we'll see when they all get back to Arizona and Craig can get a chance to swing by the ice then.
Yeah, absolutely. One more note from this game for me, for a takeaway perspective that I want to just bring up is there was a lot of physicality in this game. This is another thing that we've been talking about that we've seen more and more from this team. Everybody's willingness to chip in and be physical. And, you see Jacob Trouba, he's a physical player. This Rangers team is a physical team. And it seemed like that top line, the Keller, Hayton, Boyd, all of them, they were in the action. And there were a couple instances where they were jumping in defense. Hayton got knocked down. When Ingram got knocked down, it seemed like that was the line that was always out. So it's kind of nice that it's not always that O'Brien. I know Cassian's been out, but that O'Brien, Cassian type of player. Like you're seeing Keller and Mosier run after the play, just teammates sticking up for each other. So that was just another small thing that didn't really play too big of a role in the game itself, but just if we're going to, pick out positives that we've seen going forward, I like what I see with that.
And it's team toughness. It's a Bill Armstrong team. It's team tough. And I think that you've seen that throughout. Some night it's Krause, some night it's O'Brien, and tonight it happened to be Mosier, Hayton, and Keller. So I think you're right. I think this team is a tougher version of what we've seen on the ice over the last few years from the Coyotes. And I know if GMBA has it his way, it's going to continue to do so and continue to get that kind of player.
Absolutely. So, when these players finally get home and get back in their own bed, I hope it's a bed that they bought for more furniture, because I can't think of a better place to buy furniture. And I'm sure most of the Coyotes players bought all their furniture there. And you should too. Check them out. All of our office furniture is from More. Sean just furnished his whole apartment from More. We love it. They have a fall furniture sale going on right now at morefurniture.com. That's morefurniture.com. And right now you'll receive a $100 gift card for every $1,000 you spend at More, which is a great deal right now. And speaking of great deals right now, the holidays right around the corner. If you're looking for gifts for the sports fans in your life, check out the PHNX locker to give the gift of some sweet merch. Check the link in our description to head right to the source. Become a member at gophnx.com. We're announcing some exciting upgrades and changes to the membership this week. I promise you want to be a member. You can read all of Craig's phenomenal stories like he alluded to at the start of the show. He has his takeaways coming probably sometime in the wee hours of the morning when he lands from this cross-country journey. But check it out, because there's a lot of great content on the website at gophnx.com, and being a member gets you access to the Discord as well, which is always a blast. We love that a lot. Petey, any other takeaways from this specific game before we kind of look ahead?
Well, I'm just going to say that not just this game, but this road trip in general. I think this was a 5-game stretch that we expected something different. I was thinking 0-5 on this trip with the teams that they had to play. A lot of real big positives from this 5-game stretch, including Clayton Keller. Now he's got 7 goals on the season, so he's on pace. We talked about he's looking to get into that 30 range again, so good for him. Power play's hot. Goaltending was better than it's been when they started off this season. So there's so many positives from this trip to the East Coast. Tonight they just ran out of gas as the game went on, and if they could have got by Shesterkin early, I think this is one they could have hung around and played a good road game and maybe get a point out of it. But I'm going to take this as a great trip and a good sign of what's to come. It's a team that's going to work hard and they're going to be around games, and that's all we can ask for Coyote fans. Yeah,
absolutely. It was a good game to watch, especially in the beginning. Just to see them outperform a team, even with no goals. They did outperform the Rangers in the start of that game, and that's really positive. So let's take a look ahead at the short term, what's coming up this week and next week. We talked about these 3 days off, how crucial this might be just for, that reset button, give a couple injuries, and then they play Thursday night against Vegas, and then they have another 3 days off. So this kind of seems like a good break for this team who's been go on the road for so long. Kind of reset, just go a short flight away to Vegas, come home again, and then it's right back out to the East, but I wouldn't really consider Nashville.
Yeah, you got 2 teams in the Eastern time zone there, though, and so you're back a couple times.
Nashville, Carolina, Detroit, and Sean. Let's look at the full map, which Sean has updated with scores for a nice little visual here, and he made Texas not green for those who were
That
concerned.
Is absolutely impressive.
So we saw the Vegas, Nashville, Carolina, Detroit swing, but we did not see Minnesota, LA, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton. So all of that still ahead before the Coyotes even step back on the ice at Mullet Arena. So we'll get there.
Yeah, this is just daunting. And the one thing that's going to happen in this next week, when they only have 1 game over the next week, is teams are going to catch them. San Jose wins tonight. San Jose jumps over the Coyotes tonight. You're going to see teams playing 3 games to the Coyotes 1. And it'll be interesting to see where the standings are before they jump on the plane and head back to Nashville, because I think they're going to be a little bit different. That's a tough game going into Vegas. That is a tough atmosphere against a team that's rolling right now. That's a tough one. And I know you'd like to see the duel in the desert and be a pretty competitive game, but that's going to be hard. The way that team is playing right now, the Coyotes better come prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. We focus on the Coyotes obviously here every single day, but to see the landscape of what's going on around the league and how things are shaking out and where the Coyotes kind of stand with everyone else, we tend to do an around the NHL check-in at least once a week. And we're actually really excited because tomorrow we will be joined by a special guest who watches the NHL very closely. And that is someone we're very familiar with here. That's Rick Tocchet, who is now a hockey analyst for TNT, former Arizona Coyotes coach and player at one point in his time. Rick Tocchet will join us live tomorrow, Monday at 11 a.m. on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. We'll ask him about the landscape of the league, what he thinks about the Coyotes' start so far to the season, and, kind of just go around the league, the top storyline. So really excited to catch up with Todd.
He's always fun. He's always fun when he's not in a plane, which he's back and forth so much. Work. We have to bring that up too. Work. How he does it.
Oh my gosh, Nicholas said 8 and 8:30 starts are coming.
Don't say that. Why did he do that? Why did he just ruin our 5 o'clock starts? Have been so good. This 8 and 8:30.
We were spoiled with the 4 and 5 o'clock starts for so long.
Yeah, I don't think you have any idea, Leah. I know you don't. Because last night after the game, what time was it? What time did we leave? 8:30?
Yeah, it was like 8:40.
8:40, we were done, and you guys, hey, let's go out, let's go do something. I'm like, buddy, I'm a half hour away from bed. Like, no, like Murder She Wrote's coming on. Let's go. A little hot tea and shut her down. How are we gonna do this at 8:30? Can I come in pajamas?
That should be the Snuggie Show.
That should be the Snuggie Show. Thursday night, the Snuggie Show. Is it an 8:30 start on Thursday?
No, it's an 8 o'clock start.
Okay, well, still, we gotta wait for an 8:30 start as a Snuggie Show for sure.
Definitely.
I'm bringing slippers and Snuggie. Yep.
PHNX Coyotes After Dark.
For sure.
LFG. Yeah, you're not alone. Nicholas said, I'm dreading these two. Bedtime is like the first intermission.
I know. I'm gonna take a nap before those ones. I'm not kidding. Oh boy. But it's going to be interesting to follow this team now, and I think that we're all surprised at where they started off the season. There's more to come.
Definitely more to come. I'm excited to see where things go, how things go. And one more thing from tonight that I forgot to mention that I want to acknowledge because it actually made me laugh for once. Something like this, the Rangers fans chanting ASU when the Rangers went up 4-1. I think that was clever and original and funny, and I laughed. So shout out to the Rangers fans. And you know what? ASU hockey is on a roll right now, so it's a compliment. They swept the weekend against Alaska Anchorage. So
yeah, they're a wagon.
We'll take the compliment. They are a wagon.
The Coyotes is funny and clever, though. Good.
I thought it was funny.
Good.
Why not? Yeah, that's an original. We've heard every insult in the book. That was original. I respect it. Obviously, the Coyotes aren't home for quite a bit here. ASU hockey is. Minnesota's coming to town in 2 weeks. Logan Cooley, Matthew Nyes. Get those tickets on Game Time. As on the day of the game. Check Game Time. You'll find the cheapest tickets there. The Cardinals are around. The Suns are around. There's plenty to do before the Coyotes get back. So buy your tickets on the Game Time app. You can save up to 60% when you buy last minute. And as always, the best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link below in our description. And, for me, I didn't do so well tonight betting, but lucky for me, I also have Underdog Fantasy, and I love to do the pick 'em game, pick higher or lower. For me, it's a lot less anxiety inducing because I just have to decide like one or the other instead of deciding 1,000 things. So I always do really well on Underdog Fantasy with the pick 'em game or with Daily Fantasy, which you can do against everyone or you can do against your friends or your family. So check out Underdog Fantasy if you haven't already. I've won some good money on there. We've had a few major wins among the PHNX staff on Underdog Fantasy. So download it today. Sign up with the promo code PHNX, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code PHNX, and get in on the action today. Well, Petey, we're having a bit of an identity crisis on our show because we had a pattern established line 1, and then we thought we had a pattern established line 2, but now we don't know what to believe. So let's take a look at the punch card.
Punchcard Voodoo.
Okay, so we got loss, win, 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 loss, loss. Maybe win, win, win.
But the only thing,
I don't know.
Or is it just 3 wins per row?
Oh, wait. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. We might need a little bit longer to establish the pattern here.
Okay. Well,
Or we get Jesse on it. Jesse from Diamondbacks is a math teacher.
Yeah, he is. This is not the math group. You and Craig.
Clearly, no.
We are not the math show. We need Jesse on that for sure. But
need a little help. But this is going to be tough. The Punchcard Voodoo Magic may have a tough time heading into Vegas. This is, oh boy. And Carolina, that's a outstanding hockey team at home. They're really tough. Detroit's much, much better than they've been over the last few years. And Nashville, maybe Nashville. I'm going to say 1 and 2. I'm going to go with Nashville.
Okay.
1 and 3.
I like it. I like it. Well,
okay.
We will be covering it all, always 5 days a week here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, on PHNX Coyotes, wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Like, subscribe, leave us a review there because we also have audio-only episodes. Like I said, check out Down the I-10 if you haven't already. It's a great interview with head coach Steve Potvin and forward Michael Carcone, who corrected me to my face that it is Michael Carcone is how you say his name officially. I'm confident in that pronunciation now. So definitely check that out. Like I said, Rick Talkett tomorrow, Monday, 11 a.m. live on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. So be sure to tune in. You don't want to miss that. Then we'll have our post game for the Vegas game and an audio episode Wednesday and Friday. So stay tuned. And Craig will have all the updates. So be sure to follow him on Twitter at Craig S. Morgan. Follow Petey at S. Peters Hockey. Follow Sean at Sean_depods. You can follow me at Leah Merrill. Follow the show at PHNX_Coyotes. Petey, any final thoughts from anything? The game today, Sunday?
No, you know what? This was a good week. It was a good week of 5 o'clock games. It was a good week of wins. We got the Tempe City Council put everything.
Yeah, it was a big week.
The arena's moving forward. It's hockey season and it's under full swing. And you know what? It's a little different. I think there's a lot of teams in it this year. I don't think American Thanksgiving is usually the point where you go, okay, this is pretty close. I don't see it this year.
Yeah.
I think this is a competitive year where people are up and down. So we'll see.
Yep, we definitely will see. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in on the chat. Please like this video while you're watching, if you're watching live, if you're watching later on. We appreciate you all for tuning in with your comments. We'll be back live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Be sure to join us. Hit the notification bell on YouTube so you never miss a show. Until then, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.